Welcome to the Success in Africa podcast with Dr. Modupe, your weekly dose of leadership vitamins to make you successful in Africa.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Success in Africa podcast. My name is Dr. Modupe Taylor Pierce, and I am a scholar and practitioner of leadership and organizational development. Simply put, I study what makes people successful. And I have been studying this with a particular focus on people in Africa over the past 30 years, 3 decades. And in this podcast, what I do is I share stories, insights, perspectives about those people who have achieved success so that you can also learn some of the ways and the tips to get there. Why am I doing this? Because I have a vision. I have a vision of Africa becoming a middle-income continent by 2030 and a high-income continent by 2040. And for that to happen, I need you. Yes, you, the listener, you, the watcher, to become successful. Because most of us don't really count success as dying poor. So, if you are serious about this, I want you to just like the video, subscribe to this channel so that you can be with us. This podcast is brought to you by BCA Online, which is your one-stop shop for mastering leadership. Joining it is free. You can access a plethora of information. So today I'm so excited because we are interviewing a gentleman who has definitely achieved some success in an industry that is extremely difficult to achieve it. His name is Mr. Allan Kilavuka. He is from Kenya and he is the CEO of Kenya Airways. Now, one of my observations from leading in Africa has been that one of the challenges we have is the melding of what I call work circles with friend circles, with church circles, etc. And it has actually led to some people saying, you know what, big successful companies, you need a Muzungu, a white man to lead it, because at least that person will be able to make decisions without the burden of, who else they will meet at a family event or, a political event. How have you dealt with this issue in maintaining integrity in a company, whatever you want to call it, corruption or discipline, when you are a Kenyan? And you might meet some people who will say, hey, but come on, man, Alan, we went to the same high school or we're from the same village. How have you dealt with that challenge?
Yeah, it's a big challenge. I think where it starts is, first of all, your own convictions. You have got to have conviction before you either, demonstrate it, sell it, or actually explain it. And this is what I mean is I have a very deep conviction that things can be done differently, that it is possible. And I attribute that to several things. First, I attribute it to my faith because I'm a Christian. I'm a devout Christian. Second, I attribute it to my training. I mentioned earlier about, my background training. And third, to my upbringing. So I get that it's important. You also mentioned associations. I was fortunate and I thank God that He gave me people who helped me to think like them, and hopefully I help them to think like me, so that we together can develop this flame of fire that works in the. So that conviction is deeply ingrained in me. And I have seen it demonstrated in my life. I just mentioned that the reason why I got the job, actually pretty much in all these companies, but more specifically in GE, that was the main reason they took me more than anybody else, because I demonstrated that, I could be trusted, I had integrity. So I can see that integrity has currency. You can take it to the marketplace and sell. And a good example I like giving is, for example, if you want, God forbid, but if you want to borrow money and you don't have any other security, but people can trust you, you can actually borrow money with absolutely no security because of you have integrity. So you can see, you can take it to the marketplace and sell it in exchange for hard cash. In fact, I'll even go one step further and say, even today in my current job, sometimes when I need support from suppliers, from my bankers, and if they look at the risk profile and the balance sheet, they have doubts. I use that currency. I use integrity. Say, listen, you can trust me. We will do it. And so I take it to the marketplace and sell it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So, but you asked me, so how am I? So that conviction, and the conviction is not just words that I say. It's because I believe in them. Then I demonstrate them in my everyday life, and then I communicate them. So everybody knows. If you ask anybody in general in Kenya Airways, what is the one thing that will definitely get you fired? They will tell you it's an issue that touches integrity. And I keep telling my people.
I love it. I love it. Clear value. Go
Yes.
ahead. Keep going.
No, I was just going to say, one strike and you're out. So that same communication is what I do to everybody else, all the stakeholders. They're clear where I stand. And so when I say no, it's not a surprise.
I love it. You just said something. In fact, it may end up being the title of this part of the episode, which is that integrity is a currency.
Yes.
It is a currency. I think in the Bible, it says something about a good name is worth far more than gold.
Gold.
So integrity is a currency. By you being a person who can be depended upon, reliable, people will willingly make investments into things that you are involved in, even when the numbers don't make sense.
Correct.
And they will say, nope, if Alan says it can be done, we're backing Alan. Amazing.
Correct.
Wow. Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. This has been awesome. This has been awesome. Now I'm shifting a slight bit to, success. And for those who've just joined us, we're in a conversation with Mr. Allan Kilavuka, the CEO of Kenya Airways. He shared with us a bit about his formative years. He shared also about his success in the professional side, and you can watch those in the earlier episodes. Now I'm going to slightly change tack to the personal side, because we know that success is not only experienced at work, and the two cannot be totally removed from each other. So tell us a bit about your family. You shared earlier that you met your wife at university. How does your leadership, the integrity that you have, impact the family that you have and the relationship that you have with your family?
Yeah, thank you. So I light up when I speak about my family because they're a real cornerstone in both my integrity and personal life. So I do have family. My wife is called Jackie. Jackie, like I said, we met at university, we became lovebirds, and eventually we got married. And together we have been blessed with 3 children. We've got Ingavi, who is our firstborn. He's actually graduating tomorrow. We have a graduation ceremony for him tomorrow. He's just finished his undergrad. So we're very, very excited and proud of him. He's just started off as an intern in one of the telecom companies here, and he hopes to also do his master's degree. Then we have Imani. Imani is our second born. She's a girl. Imani is currently studying in Canada. She's studying business, and she is in her second year now in Huron College. Then our last born is called Iana, and she's just graduated high school, actually on last Friday, and she hopes to join the University of Kent in the UK after the summer. So those are my family. They're all grown-ups now, and they're all over 18. And so we're very proud. And a lot of that I attributed to my wife because she sacrificed her career to take care of the children. as I had a very busy job, even when we were moving from one country to another. So I am so ever grateful to my wife for the support she has given, not just to me, but also to our children, so that we can raise a successful next generation. Because part of my mandate living this world is, what am I giving back to society? Not just of myself, but of my offsprings. Are they responsible members of society? And that is very, very critical. So I do my part in making sure that's working, and I pass on the values that I have to them, so that they can be effective members of society. But I have to say, they also have their role in making sure that I am true to what I say I am. So they're watching me every time, and they challenge me. In fact, simple things like when you're going to church, when you say you're going to meet at 9, and then, I come at 9:05 or 9:07, they're like, Dad, you keep telling us that it's 9, not 9:05. What's going on here? So I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. That shouldn't happen. And those kinds of things, the way they challenge you and you challenge them back. I'll give you another example. Our last one, she's called Yana, like I said. When I was interviewing for the Kenya Airways job, she's the one who challenged me and said, if you think there's a problem, you go fix it. You can fix it. And when I thought to myself, my 13-year-old, at that time she was 13, is challenging me to go and do what I keep telling them, you can do anything. So she was playing back my own words to me. So I think we can learn a lot from our children, I tell you.
I love that. Sometimes I heard a podcast, a reverend preach a sermon where he said, you know what? Take God's words and turn it back on God. I think, God, you said this. You said this. It almost sounds like Iana did that to you and said, but Dad, you said we can do it. So why aren't
Yes.
I'm challenging you to live up to it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's amazing that, you've tied the fact that Jackie's willingness to make sacrifices for the family has enabled you to be able to do what you do. Now, there are many of us in having success in Africa that sometimes have felt like, wait a minute, to be really successful, you have to sacrifice your family. Because you see that sometimes with some people. What do you say about that in terms of how you have been able to achieve it? What are some of the tips or frankly, the standards that you have maintained to ensure that your professional success did not come at the expense of your personal success, or vice versa?
Yeah. I think, first of all, it's a challenge I do submit to balance your professional life and your family life. It is a challenge, there's no doubt about that. Because some jobs like mine are very demanding. Okay. But having said that, you have to be deliberate. I hear many people who want to be successful, who are aspiring to be successful, saying that they're workaholics and they're proud of it. I don't think you should be proud of that. Nobody should be proud of being a workaholic. It's not a good thing. It's not a badge of honor at all. Okay? That's my view. Okay? This is just my view. Because although I work very hard, I am very diligent, and that I think everybody can attribute, but I am not a workaholic. I don't work all the time, every time. I have boundaries that I have placed deliberately, especially in my current job, where I say, at this time, I will only allow this kind of call to come to me. Any other call, I will not take. So I will only take emergency calls from my operations team. I will only take teams from my executive team. And I will only take teams from, of course, very senior government officials. Anybody else, they can either wait until tomorrow morning, or they can speak to, because some of them you can clearly see they can speak to someone else and they know it, but they want to. The other thing that I have done is carved out time for myself and carved out time for my family. So of course it comes at the expense of many things. So I spend less time with in the social world out there so that I can spend enough time with the family, which is a choice I have made. So you'll not find me out there with friends, clubbing and doing all those things, because I want to spend more time with my family. And then, of course, we are very deliberate about taking holiday together. Now that my children are grown up, so now it means maybe with my wife, because they will be all over the city, all over the world, doing their own stuff. But it's important for us to carve out time to spend time with your family. And carved out time is carved out time. And people fail. I think, Doc, why people fail to do this is because they have not trusted their teams enough to do things they are doing. So, for example, when you take your time off, make sure to hand over to the person who is taking off from you and empower them. You'll be surprised they will probably do a better job than you. So it's important for you to give the people jobs. And I know people don't trust, even not just you, people don't trust the people that you've handed over to, but you really need to insist that you've taken some time off. And then the last thing is I do have some hobbies, some likes that I do. I like hiking, for example. And one of the things that I have done is I have encouraged my family, or particularly my children, to come along with me during my hikes. And they do sometimes they don't, and that's okay. So when we're out together, we again spend a lot of time together. So very deliberate effort to make sure that you are you're spending time with them.
Wow, I love that. So much to glean from. I'm gleaning the importance of setting boundaries. Secondly, the importance of being intentional about time with family or time to do the things that fill you up. But thirdly, the courage to say no to nice things and sometimes demanding people. That's amazing, because indeed you cannot be successful trying to be all things to all people. And finally, the courage to truly empower your direct reports so that they can make decisions, which makes them less dependent on you being there. Okay, so as we come towards the close of this podcast and my head is so full with all the things I'm learning, I want to ask you a double-pronged question. One, what's the best thing about, or your favorite part of being the CEO of Kenya Airways? And tied to that, what are your dreams for, the airline? Where if you could wave a magic wand and in 5-10 years it could happen, what would it look like? So tell us that as we kind of close this podcast, so that we can all learn that even for somebody who has been successful, that person also aspires to other things. Over to you.
Thank you. Wow, what a loaded question, eh? All right. So what's the favorite part of what I do today? Actually, those two questions are linked, so I'm happy that you asked them together. So, today, the impact or the contribution that Kenya Airways in particular and aviation in general has on the economies, not just in Africa, but the world over, is significant. And it can even be more. So when I realize this, that we have a very big impact on society and on economies in Africa and in Kenya in particular, that actually makes me think that this is a very privileged position that I have been allowed to serve. So I can impact the economy directly and indirectly of this country and of this continent by connecting people, by connecting cultures, and also connecting markets. And so that alone inspires me to come to work every day, because I know how important this airline is and how important aviation is to people's lives generally. How many people we move, how many people we connect, how many goods we move, how many people we employ, and how many currencies we move up and across the continent, and on and on and on. There's a huge contribution that we make. And so for me, this is what inspires me. Today, I'm privileged to lead 4,500 people. And when I think about any decision that I make, I'm like, this decision is impacting at least 18,000 people because these 4,500 people are connected to other people. They have children, mothers, fathers, wives, husbands, sisters, brothers. So any decision I make is impacting a huge number of people. And I know it's impacting even more people because there's also indirect connections. So I have to be very deliberate because leading is leading people. And the impact that you have on people, 18,000 people in my case, is significant. So that I have to be very deliberate, very thoughtful of what kind of impact will I have on the lives of these very many people that God has privileged me to impact. Now, about the vision. So because of the importance of aviation in general, and Kenya Airways in particular, then it can only be that this aviation and Kenya Airways has to grow significantly so it can impact even more people and contribute directly to the economic and social life of this continent. I mean, if I think about Kenya Airways, I mean, we have had very many fasts. But what if we are able to connect every city to every city across Africa? What about if we're able to connect every city to every major city across the world, either directly or indirectly? What about if we're able to move goods, because it's a large continent, up and down the continent under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area? What about if we're able to employ people, get them quality jobs as pilots, engineers, ground staff, and even in our other new initiatives that we're starting, like drones, unmanned aircraft, and so on and so forth, we can create millions of jobs directly and indirectly as aviation and as airlines. So I look forward to the time when Kenya Airways and its partners, that African partners, will grow to a point that we will be contributing at least 11% of the gross domestic products in all the countries that we are operating in.
Wow. What about if we could connect every city in Africa to every city in Africa, and every city in Africa to every city in the world? That's mind-boggling. I just want to say, first of all, thank you very, very much, Alan, for your time. You have, by just sharing your experiences, you have educated us, you have taught us a number of things about the importance of maintaining a balance between family and work, the importance of being willing to sacrifice certain things that could be nice, and also the importance of having the courage of your convictions and the courage to delegate and empower. And lastly, you have also inspired me by the vision of every city connected to every city in Africa. And I suspect I speak for many Africans who would say, I pray that this vision becomes the reality, because when that happens, Africa will not just be a middle income continent, it will be a high income continent. So thank you so much, Alan. I so much appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of the episode, and I'm going to give Alan an opportunity perhaps to just share 1 minute of his final thoughts. If there's anything he wants to share, while he's doing that, please like the video, subscribe to the podcast, and, so that you can enjoy these kinds of nuggets of wisdom on a weekly basis. Alan, over to you for your final thoughts.
Thank you, Modupe. And first of all, thank you very much for inviting me, and thank you for allowing me to speak to Africans. I am a Pan-Africanist. I do believe in Africa. We can do it. We can do it. We just need the soft element. We have the gray matter. We have the intellect. We need to a little bit increase our softer elements, the ones that I mentioned earlier, of discipline, focus, integrity. And I'm telling you, if we do those, we should be okay, because we can do it. I have a lot of belief in our African people. We can do it. That's my parting shot.
Discipline, focus, and integrity. Folks, you have heard it straight from the CEO of Kenya Airways. Look out, it's coming to a city near you. Tell your friends about this podcast, subscribe to it, because together we can transform our beloved continent. You've heard it from Mr. Kilavuka. It is within our power. We can do it. We are Africans. We can make this continent a great one. Thank you and have a blessed day.
Tomorrow belongs to those people who prepare for it today. See you next week.